Next up, Seahawks-Cowboys. The morning line, like I said, we're talking a little before 8 o'clock Eastern on Friday. Right now it is Cowboys favored by 1.5. Over-under is 43. These teams played in week 3. The Seahawks had opened with 2 losses on the road. Then they come home. They won 24-13 against the Cowboys. They sacked Dak 5 times. They forced 3 turnovers. 2 of them were Dak interceptions. They ran the ball a lot. I don't know if I'd say particularly effectively. Chris Carson, 32 carries, 102 yards, and a touchdown. So they just ran and ran and ran. And the Cowboy defense is not a pushover against the run. Ezekiel Elliott had a nice game, 16 carries, 127 yards. So that's wrapping that up. I want to get through some injuries first. Seahawks, their guard, J.R. Sweezy, questionable. We're not sure if he's going to play yet. Shaquille Griffin got hurt last week, but he's expected to play. Their corner, who hasn't been that great anyway. They've got to change at safety. Delano Hill's going to be out with a hip injury, but they're getting back Fedric Thompson, so that's probably a wash. Cowboys, the guard, Xavier Su'a-Filo is doubtful, so that matters, but they're going to get Zach Martin back. So that's, hugely helpful, obviously. David Irving's still out there and waiting for him for a while, not going to play. So interesting thing in this game, these teams look pretty evenly matched, I think. You know, you look at them and you say, these are both pretty solid teams. They've been playing kind of well. And, the almost toss-up spread looks right. But the Cowboys have been so good at home. And the Seahawks on the road have been, they're kind of all right. Even the games they won, they're not all that great. Does the Cowboys' home performance, how much does that affect how you look at this game?
It affects a lot. I wrote in my column this week that if this was played on a neutral field or even if it was played in Seattle, I'd have no problems picking Seattle immediately. I think the only thing that kind of gave me pause this week was the fact that the Cowboys are playing at home and they've been good there. Look at their schedule right now. How many have they lost at home? 2 this year?
The Cowboys won.
No, I'm saying overall the Cowboys at home.
They've lost one. They've lost one game at home.
Oh, they lost one. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. They lost the Titans. So, yeah, and then beating the Saints at home, which I think a lot, obviously that surprised a whole lot of people. They beat the Eagles at home the next week after that. They beat the Bucs at home. So they haven't played a very, very tough schedule at home except for the Saints and the Eagles. The Seahawks are probably the second toughest team to come to Dallas. So maybe that there's some solace there. Cowboys kind of beat up on some bad teams at home. But, yeah, I'm still going with the Seahawks. But it was a little more difficult for me to pick them because I know how good Dallas is on the at home. And I know that Seattle, in this era, as good as they are at home, struggle a little bit more on the road. That made me – it briefly gave me pause, but not too much.
Okay. I'm going the other way again. I do think that one interesting thing here is that the Cowboys. The Seahawks love to run. The Seahawks run. As much as anybody in the league, more than anybody. They're second in rush attempts behind the Ravens, but the Ravens are a weird one because the quarterback runs all the time. He runs 15 times a game. They lead the league in rushing yards, 160 rushing yards a game, 4.8 carry, but the Cowboys are sturdy. The Cowboys are third in the league in rushing yards allowed per carry. This is another, like I said, that game early in the season, the Seahawks won pretty comfortably. They ran a lot, and it was I don't know if it was a wearing Dallas down kind of thing. I don't want to say that, but it's not like they ran all over them. Even you look at Carson, you go, 102 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, he had to work to get that. The Seahawks are going to have to work to get those yards on the ground in this game. And I think that's a really interesting facet of this game is how effective they're going to be running. And I kind of think this is looking like an under for me.
What I like about Seattle's run game is that obviously Chris Carson has been really good this year, over 1,150 yards. But they spread it around. Mike Davis has over 500 yards. Rashad Penny has over 400 yards. And obviously Russell Wilson can run the ball as well. There's just a kind of a multifaceted attack that I really – it's been kind of enjoyable to watch, especially because so many people didn't think much of Seattle this year. There are people who said they were going to be one of the worst teams in the league, and
yep,
kind of overcome that. And you mentioned, I think, in your notes that Seattle has the fewest pass attempts in the NFL this year. But you look at Russell Wilson, and he's third in the league in quarterback rating.
Right.
He's got a 5-to-1 quarterback interception ratio, which is tied for second best in the league. They're very efficient there. And to me, it comes down to – a lot of it comes down to two matchups. Quarterback versus quarterback. Would you rather have Russell Wilson on your team as a playoff team, or would you rather have Dak Prescott? I think the answer there to me is really easy. It's you go with Russell Wilson. He's got the experience. He's got that X factor that even if he's not having a great game, he's throwing for 120 yards and 2 picks, and Seattle's down, 4 late in the game, but the Seahawks got the ball with 2 minutes to go, and Russell Wilson is about ready to take over. Russell Wilson, I'm betting on Russell Wilson to win that game.
Right.
And if you're going with Jason Garrett with Dallas versus Pete Carroll with Seattle, what coach do you want on your sideline? I think the answer there is pretty obvious as well. You want Pete Carroll. So those two matchups.
Such good clappers, though. They're excellent clappers, both of them.
Say this for Garrett. There was some chatter about whether or not he should be in danger of losing his job early this season, and then everybody kind of thought, well, that's not going to happen because Jerry Jones wants to keep him around for whatever reason. And he's been more aggressive. Jason Garrett has, for as conservative as he's been. He's been a little more aggressive lately, which I think people seem to enjoy, and people seem to think that's the right move, especially on offense going for those 4th downs. So there is that. I'd still rather have Pete Carroll on my team, even though Jason Garrett is a really good clapper.
Okay. Other things in this game to look for. Let's see. So Seattle, by the way, they've won 5 of their last 7. They've averaged 30 points a game in that. And that you wouldn't kind of expect that from them generally. So been interesting. They played a lot of games at home down the stretch, which I thought was kind of weird. We knew 6-7 weeks ago that they were set up for a strong finish, and they did. They had it, even though losing that game to San Francisco, right? That was a little weird.
Yeah.
But not totally shocking, but because the Niners were pesky late. But by the way, Cowboys, one other thing, 7-2 since they got Amari Cooper. A lot of home wins, like we said. They're a different team at home. I don't know. I'm going Dallas. The home field's tipping it for me. I've been thinking for weeks that the Cowboys would be a tough out if they got a home game, and I still think that. I mean, I think they might go to New Orleans and get kind of waxed next week, but I'm going to pick them this game. So
yeah, no, I mean it's legit. I mean, like I said, that gave me pause. But I mean, if the game was being played in Seattle, who'd you go if it was in Seattle?
I would pick the Seahawks, definitely.
Yeah. Without hesitation, right?
Without hesitation, no.
Yeah.
Right now, NFLPickwatch.com, on the expert side, 79% so far are with the Seahawks. 71% of the fans with the Seahawks.
And what's the straight up percentage?
Hold on one second. Let's see. I'm going to do it right now. 67% experts straight up Seahawks.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I don't know. I wonder if we're giving Cowboys enough credit, but all right. So again, Josh, Seahawks, John, Cowboys.